Griffith is one of the most complex and controversial characters in the Berserk series. At the outset of the story, he is presented as a charismatic and ambitious leader, with a strong vision for his mercenary band, the Band of the Hawk. As the story progresses, however, Griffith's character becomes increasingly dark and troubling, and he is ultimately revealed to be a deeply flawed and morally compromised individual. One of Griffith's defining characteristics is his ambition. He has a clear vision for his band, and he is willing to do whatever it takes to achieve his goals, even if it means sacrificing his own comrades or engaging in morally questionable behavior. This ambition is both a strength and a weakness for Griffith, as it allows him to achieve great success, but also causes him to make reckless and dangerous decisions that ultimately lead to his downfall. Griffith is also a highly complex and enigmatic character, with many layers and contradictions. He is capable of great kindness and compassion, but also of extreme violence and cruelty. He is deeply conflicted about his own desires and motivations, and is constantly struggling to reconcile his own ambition with his desire for genuine human connection and emotional intimacy. One of the most controversial aspects of Griffith's character is his relationship with Guts and Casca. Griffith is shown to have a deep and complex emotional connection with both characters, but his relationship with Guts is particularly fraught. Griffith is attracted to Guts' strength and determination, but also deeply threatened by his independence and sense of self. This leads to a series of violent and abusive acts, culminating in Griffith's brutal rape of Casca. Ultimately, Griffith's character is defined by his struggle for power and control, and his willingness to sacrifice anything and anyone in order to achieve his goals. While he is a highly charismatic and effective leader, he is also deeply flawed and morally compromised, and his actions have lasting consequences for himself and those around him. Despite his many flaws and dark deeds, however, Griffith remains one of the most compelling and complex characters in the Berserk series, a symbol of both the heights of human ambition and the depths of human depravity. Griffith's rape of Casca is a complex and controversial event in the Berserk series, and there is no single answer to why it occurred. However, there are several factors that may have contributed to Griffith's actions. The rape of Casca is also a deeply disturbing and traumatic event for Casca herself. She is a strong and capable warrior, but she is also deeply vulnerable in this moment, having been stripped of her agency and violated in a deeply personal and intimate way. The scene is depicted in graphic and brutal detail, emphasizing the horror and brutality of sexual violence. This event has lasting consequences for both characters. For Casca, the trauma of the event leads to a profound psychological breakdown, which leaves her with severe mental and emotional scars that she struggles to overcome throughout the rest of the series. For Griffith, the rape marks a turning point in his character, leading him to become increasingly cruel and ruthless as he pursues his own ambition and power. Like a lot of people have already said, the rape was not predestined to happen since Casca was supposed to die. It was something Griffith himself chose to do. No one forced him to do that. But what I wonder is, why do it? The only explanation I can think of is that he wanted to hurt Guts. But why exactly? As far as we've seen of Griffith afterwards, he had become nothing but indifferent towards them. Was it to prove himself since he now feels nothing towards them? I assume it was because he overheard Guts and Casca talking about life after him. This felt like a huge betrayal to Griffith, and he wanted to punish them both as harshly as he could. Instead of ego, Griffith's terrible weakness is a lack of self-awareness. Because he spent years perfecting the technique of isolating his emotions and never looked back, he is unaware of his own heart. He never thought about the idea that he may care more about someone else than his ambition, and this repression of his own human nature set the stage for his tragic end. Because of his personality, he came up with the notion that even though Guts isn't someone who is easily intimidated by physical pain, he is definitely emotionally vulnerable in regards to Casca. Besides this, he is aware of Casca's vulnerability as a woman. It's comparable to a child smashing one of his toys so that no one else can play with it. But it's not entirely clear whether Griffith's rape of Casca was a direct act of revenge against Guts. While Griffith was certainly jealous of Guts and felt betrayed by his departure from the Band of the Hawk, there is no explicit indication that the rape was intended to hurt Guts specifically. In the past, I believed one of the main motives behind the rape was to cut the victim's connection to his human life. Griffith first met Casca when he saved her from being raped by a nobleman. Thus, to go and rape Casca would completely destroy the link he has with her. It is also speculated that Griffith loved Guts, which would explain why he forced Guts to watch him perform his act, thereby cutting that link. Yet, considering Griffith taking Casca to his holy kingdom in the most recent chapter, I don't believe that to be the case. Also, Griffith wanted Guts to rejoin him in his new band of hawks, so this notion seemed a little shallow in light of that. It's important to note that Griffith's rape of Casca is not presented as a moment of passion or desire. Rather, it is a violent and traumatic act of power and control. Griffith had just been captured and tortured by the Kingdom of Midland, and he was in a state of extreme emotional distress and physical pain. It's possible that this vulnerability and desperation led him to lash out in a violent and abusive manner. Another factor that may have played a role in the rape is Griffith's relationship with Casca. Throughout the series, Griffith is shown to have a complicated and conflicted relationship with Casca. On the one hand, he seems to genuinely care for her and value her as a member of the Band of the Hawk. On the other hand, he also sees her as a possession to be used for his own purposes. This conflicted attitude towards Casca may have led to a moment of violence and abuse when Griffith was in a state of emotional turmoil. It's also worth noting that Griffith's rape of Casca is not presented as a justification for his actions. In fact, it is depicted as a heinous and unforgivable act, and one that has lasting repercussions for both Casca and Griffith himself. The rape is a pivotal moment in the series, one that marks a turning point for both characters and sets in motion a chain of events that will shape the rest of the story. Ultimately, the rape is a complex and emotionally charged moment in the Berserk series. While there is no single answer to why it occurred, it is clear that it has profound and lasting consequences for both Casca and Griffith, and is a pivotal moment in the ongoing narrative of the series. Well, we've reached the end of this video about this brutal and emotional event. I wonder what you guys think. If you have any thoughts, please share it with us in the comments section. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Berserk content. Thanks for watching and bye.